Is the microphone all right? Okay. First, let me welcome you in my language. Vanakkam, நண்பர்களே. உங்களை வாழ்த்தி பாராட்டி போற்றி I start this program. Roughly translated, I am saying, I am happy to be here and I praise you and at my age I can bless you as well, and I greatly admire your presence here. I'm very glad that we have excellent panelists today. This is a topic that's very interesting and it's being debated all over the world, but I think it's a slightly out of date debate today, but all the same we should, because there is no particular time in which we cannot learn this. But let me say about the people who were here before us. Of course, Mallika took us by storm, and that was no surprise. And in all fairness to Nisaba, she came to see me when she was about to graduate from Harvard and asked some advice about going into the rural areas. I did tell her, try to wear a sari when you're going to a rural area. And when you're in a rural area, particularly wear a country sari. Don't go in very silk Banarasi stuff, Kanchipuram or anything else, but just wear a nice country sari and you would find women approaching. And this is what happened when I would go on either World Bank mission to Hanuman Ghat or to Murialguda, to various places near Telangana district. Women would be all the way out there, Dalit women, Banjari women, and so on, and would be watching me talking to the men at a great distance, then slowly would inch forward because I wore saris like they would wear. This was interesting. So it came from my personal experience. So I think Mallika actually sang my song for the reasons that we want to wear a clothing that's comfortable for women. We want to wear clothing that is art. India is the only place where wearing clothing, beautiful clothing, is not the privilege of the rich. It is the privilege of everyone. All that you have to see is go around in this area, the women who are working in the gardens, and they are $1 million a piece. You look at them and you are just surprised how beautiful they look, what they wear. And we get up, this is the only country we get up in the morning and we wear art. Place to place, all over India. And this is important. Even more important, 500,000 villages in this country are indulge in textiles, which is so important. Cotton and silk. China is often said silk center, but there is a part of silk that also came from India, which is now found in Central Asian mummies, clothed in Central Asian mummies. We also have cotton, which is sometimes called Egyptian, but it's actually Indian. Even more important, indigo, the dye that's so evocative, which is, our goddesses are called Neelambari, Neelayadakshi. This is all indigo. Now that indigo is, you can see in all the blue masks all over the world. So it is very important for us to preserve our traditions. But be that as it may, let me start with this, the topic at hand. I would like to begin by, unfortunately Mallika is not here, but her mother would know, Rukmani Devi, Arundel, a few miles from here. When you have a chance before you leave, go visit Kalakshetra, which was a primary art school, which was funded and founded by Rukmani Devi Arundel, India's most important artist. And at her 80th birthday, I happened to be in India visiting with a friend of mine. And I went into Kalakshetra as I usually would do to connect to friends. And there she was being celebrated for her 80th birthday. She was standing in the most beautiful sari. She revived all the Indian arts, whether it's Kuchipudi or other dances, Kathakali, music, Bharatanatyam, and all of that, and also clothing. And her looms produced copied ancient textiles from various places would produce. There she was standing at 80, still India's most beautiful woman, standing there and giving a lecture. After the celebrations, I was about to leave. She spotted me and she asked me to come, and she said, "When did you come? It took you 3 days to come here." I said, "I'm very sorry." And again, this is the only country where people will be offended if you are not visiting them. Other people would be happy in other places. Okay, I don't have to spend time. So here she was, she asked me, and then she said, "We are going to lunch to my house." What was her house? Her house is this little place inside this Adayar Alamaram, if you know. And there her 96-year-old sister and herself, and Sankaramenan, a great person behind Kalakshetra, was there, and myself and this woman. While we were eating that little dinner, rasam and rice and tair sadam and pickle and one vegetable, and on the TV they were showing, today I had asked Nalini Chidambaram to come, a long-time friend of mine, to be here, and from the Hindu, Ravi, and I don't know whether they are here, they may be delayed or they may not get here, but I had asked, Nalini's mother was a great poet. She was reading a poem. But she didn't look like anybody that would be so important, because she looked like another Tamil woman. So my friend next to me told me, American friend, "She doesn't look like a poet or a very educated person. Rukmani Devi is blunt like a razor's edge. You don't cross her." She had a tongue that would act like anything. So she said to this friend of mine, "Look here, let me tell you about Indian women. You do not judge them by how they look, what they wear. Our women are so important in the way in which they bring us up, so important in so many ways. Don't you ever say things like that." This woman didn't know what hit her, because she did not expect this kind of thing, but that is true. We can never say who this woman might be. For example, when ICICI appointed, what's her name? Chanda Kochar, you opened the picture and there was Chanda like $1 million and a big smile and a nice sari. Now, this would not be possible in the West. That is because Indian sari is the only attire invented by women for women. All other things are put by men on them. And incidentally, and neither are we cloaked completely. We are not ashamed of our bodies. All that you have to see is go to our temples and see any number of women in any kind of attire. And that's why when someone visited Agenda, he said, the frank and chivalrous worship of women as body, as mind and spirit, unparalleled in human things. So everything is welcome here, whether it's suit or so, but why we do it? Then we come to the question of motive. Why are we doing what we are doing? Is it comfortable in a tropical climate? So let's be like Aung San Suu Kyi, wear our jasmines and wear our sarongs or salwar kameez or Nagaland, this thing, or mundu, which I'll be starting to wear because it's getting to be a bit warm here. And we're sorry, whatever it is, our men don't judge us. That is another important thing. But I would make a few more comments and then I'll call the panelists who have much more important things to say. In this country also, when Mrs. Gandhi was made Prime Minister, she was not made to wear, it is interesting, this is distracting. Especially if you don't want to see your own face. That's why I don't even have a mirror. And Mrs. Gandhi wore saris and salwar kameez and whatever in many different ways. And she always insisted people who came to see her, like Rukmani Devi, wear an Indian outfit or no outfit. Either would be acceptable, but they insisted. So that kind of leadership is gone now. So when Mrs. Gandhi was opening the International Energy, First Energy Conference in India, she was walking with a piece of paper which she was going to present, inviting some thousands of people. And is the microphone all right? Okay. When she was walking ahead, there was this flower canopy opened. On her head, all the flowers fell. And Mrs. Gandhi is very allergic to flowers. So she was picking some of them, but behind her were the cabinet secretary and the other secretaries, energy secretary, they also were picking the flowers from her head, from her shoulders. A scene you cannot see in the West. That a woman who's, and you know, it's amazing. People said, well, cabinet secretaries are picking flowers from her shoulders. Can you imagine Margaret Thatcher walking in front and somebody is trying to arrange her hair? So our men are liberated already. Just need to remind them, who do you think you are? Just look at yourself. So you are all, and because we have mothers who are interested in the same thing with Mrs. Gandhi had invited me for a lunch. I thought there would be hundreds of people. Poor thing, she says she's come from America, she's working with me. But it so happened it was head of state luncheon for 16 heads of state. I was the only non-head of state in Mughal Gardens. And as I arrived in my nice Kanchipuram sari with a big flower on my head, one of the ministers comes to me, puts his hand on my shoulders and says, hey, is everything ready in the kitchen? You want to go and check? I said, I've always wanted to see the kitchen of Rashtrapati Bhavan. This was my chance. So I said, yeah, I'll go check the chef. So I went inside and roamed like a dog in an open house and went into the kitchen and saw that. And then Castro arrived with Mrs. Gandhi's secretary. So Mrs. Gandhi came with him and introduced me to Mr. Castro. President Castro, this is our gift to the world. So, and then Castro and I started talking. Then the minister who asked me happened to be a relative of Mrs. Gandhi. Excuse me, you didn't tell me. Tell you what? He said, that you were an invitee. I said, give respect to every woman. Not all women who are there to, this is not about me. So I told him, is there any chance you'll be mentioning it to Mrs. Gandhi? I said, if she has time, it'll be a nice story to mention it to her. But, so I wanted to say, there are lots of things I will go on to comment, but we talked about so many things. In Tamil, there are two, like in Urdu, we have, Urdu is also a language I love and cherish. So there are two words. Tamil is like, has these twin words like Urdu. So there are two words in Tamil, Vedanai and Sadhanai. Vedanai is sacrifice. The thing that you go through, being troubled and hardworking, and sadhana is achievement. One does not go without the other. And that is the theme of today's conference. And I would go on, I have a few more comments to make, and our chair Shanti had told me that I should take all the time to make it. It would be interesting, and for which I thank her. But in the meantime, our first panelist is Ruzan Kambata. I have asked her to send me a picture of her with smile so I can put it, because ever since she has come, she has not stopped smiling. The reason I am mentioning it, today in the Western world, women are not supposed to smile in the office. You come with an attaché case like you are going to punch somebody. And then, you walk through and you say, good morning. They say, I cannot talk to you now. I am so, this creep at my home, I just said good morning. She could have gotten rid of me by saying good morning instead of the 4 or 5 sentences. So this is what we have there. No, and they tell you, Mangalam, you always speak to people and look at their eyes. So where am I supposed to look? And they tell me, no, men would think you're flirting with them. I said, good. If there is a benefit to it. And now, Ruzan, the smile would so unnerve and unsettle, disarm people in the West. So I said, I'm going to put that picture behind me whenever I am back there. So Ruzan Kambata, I think they have your resume, so I will not go about it, but you will come and honor me with your smile.
How often